So this is the final trading day of August, and welcome everyone to Frontier Opening Bell. Thank you very much for coming through to the show this day. Of course, the markets across Africa is where we're touching on. The Zimbabwe stock market went down about 0.3% on Wednesday as a few of discontent and contentions continue to trail the last general elections in which President Emerson Mnangagwa secured a second term of 5 years in office. But again, there's a whole lot of political situations on the continent with Gabon's military coup over the last 72 hours in making the news around the world and on the continent as well. There's a bit of contentions as well over elections in other parts of the continent. But let's look at the market very quickly, with the South African market up by 0.64%. The Nairobi stock market still reading below the 100 index level, but of course got about 0.4% on Wednesday. The Egyptian stock market went up 1.01%. The EGX30 is stronger, above 18,000 level. The BRVM saw some gains yesterday, led by big names such as Société Générale, that lifted the French-speaking West African bourse based in Cote d'Ivoire by 0.38%. The Nigerian market down by roughly 0.1%, despite gains that we saw in Zenith Bank, Jitco, as well as Dangote Sugar. Of course, the news is out there about the merger being planned between Dangote Sugar, Nascon Industries, and Dangote Rice Limited, which is not a listed company. But let's get that all down and take up what's the big news in East Africa. The East Africa Business and Investment Summit in Kampala, Uganda is taking place today, and we're following that. Just as we saw the debut of Uganda's ITL IPO, which opened yesterday. That will be on the street until the 13th of October. Listing on the Ugandan Stock Exchange will be at the end of the month of October. That is one big deal. More than $200 million will be raised by Airtel Uganda from this initial public offer, and will raise the size of the Uganda stock market and provide investors another stock that will have liquidity to trade on the exchange. 4G network was rolled out in Uganda not too long ago by Airtel. Airtel is Uganda is owned by Bharti Airtel, which of course accounts for 99.99%. 0.01% of that company doing IPOs owned by Bharti Airtel Africa, which is listed on the Nigeria and the London Stock Exchange. So keep those in mind. But of course, we're keeping an eye on that IPO going for 100 shillings, Uganda shillings per unit. The EcoBank on Rwanda says they have a new board chairman for the board of directors. That's Richard Mugisha. And Tanzania has named Dr. Biteko as the new minister for energy, and he will be overseeing the country's LNG projects in the main, and that will be his chief focus. Tanzania plans to raise its own LNG contributions, liquefied natural gas, to levels seen in other countries such as Nigeria, Morocco, and others. Those are the headlines from East Africa this morning. Let's get on to West Africa, where the news around Dangote Sugar notified the Nigerian exchange that his planned merger with two other companies within the Dangote Industries is ongoing. The submission will be passed on to the Securities and Exchange Commission. The news came through to the market. The shares of Dangote Sugar had been up about 197% since the month of June, when the initial news of the merger plan broke out. Nascon Industries, which is also a salt company owned by Dangote, has been up more than 200% since the start of July. Both stocks been roaring hot. Dangote Rice Limited is a limited company and not listed on any of the exchanges. The merger will create a bigger Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC listed on the Nigerian exchange. There'll be an exchange of shares between the three companies, as we see. The NGX Group itself will be paying 0.25 dividend to shareholders today, the 31st of August. And Access Bank of Ghana is holding a fast behind the figures presentation with the Ghana Stock Exchange today at about 12 o'clock West African time. Check that out if you are on the line to see what Access Bank will be telling the investment markets and the market community in Ghana. And Ghana is restructuring about $4 billion worth in its latest local debt exchange program, while Cameroon is reportedly having about 6.76% of its working population. That's roughly 900,000 individuals using cryptocurrencies, making Cameroon one of the highest cryptocurrency usage country in sub-Saharan Africa. And Gabon's dollar-denominated bond took a beating on Wednesday on the announcement of a military coup that took Omar Bongo out of office. There were contagion impacts of that also on bonds on the global marketplace issued by Cameroon, which is next door to Gabon, by the way, in Central African Republic, as well as Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, as well as Ghana. So that's the latest. We're keeping an eye on that. There are a bit of concerns whether Gabon, an oil-producing country in Africa, will be able to keep up its output to the global marketplace due to the military incursion, now that all government institutions are being disbanded and shut down by the military junta, the soldiers there. Let's get on to Southern Africa. Quite a couple of news coming through with the SARB, which is the Reserve Bank of South Africa, hosting today's Biennial Conference for 2023 with key speakers coming through, not only from within Africa, but from outside, including the chairman of the Atlanta's Reserve Bank, Mr. Bostic. Let's keep tracking that for you. If you are on Front Africa Report YouTube, you see our live streaming of that. The Aspen's reporting this annual profit down 4% because of inflation in South Africa and drop in COVID-19 vaccine sales. Since the end of 2021, the early 2022, we've seen a rapid decline in the COVID vaccinations using the COVID-19 vaccine. So the sales of that is hitting Aspen, drug manufacturer maker in South Africa. Zimtrade is targeting a jump in its exports to DR Congo. That's the target about 200%. That's quite hefty. And Shell says its latest Namibia probe failed to find oil in commercial quantity in Namibia, a southern African economy, while Impala Platinum has raised its metal output forecast for its 2023-2024 period because of the deal it consummated recently with Roya Bafokeng Platinum. That deal is in the books for Impala Platinum, and that's the latest news coming through from South Africa overnight. Let's touch on with North Africa very quickly and just see what's making the headlines as we wrap up the month of August. Egypt is looking to raise about $5 billion from IPO program by mid of 2024, the sale of some state-owned enterprises to the private sector. In the meantime, President El-Sisi's cabinet has approved a 5-year samurai $500 million bonds to be issued in Japanese yen. And then we've got a Bank de Cairo first half 2023 profit up 41%, net interest income also up by 35%. That's part of reporting earnings coming through from the first half of the year. And Morocco's watermelon exports to Spain down by about 50% so far in the current year. And those are the headlines. This Thursday, we'll say welcome to September tomorrow, the 1st. Bye for now. Have a great day, everyone.